Hello everyone and welcome to MGT262 Psychology at Work course. If you don't know me so far, my name is Professor Rafael Chiuzi and I will be your instructor. So today the idea here is to give you a video syllabus type of thing. I guess that by now you guys must be pretty overwhelmed with a lot of PDFs and Word documents and whatnot. So I decided to make a simpler version of the syllabus. Now, with that in mind, this is not a replacement for the syllabus. It's just a simpler summary version of the syllabus. So I highly encourage you to read through the syllabus on Quercus or on the PDF version, if you will. But this is just pinpointing some important elements of the syllabus. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now with you. And okay, so this is my presentation for you, our video syllabus. So the name of the course is, as you know, Psychology at Work. And this is, in a nutshell, the learning objectives or learning outcomes for this course. So think of it as your backpack. So hopefully by the end of the semester, this is what I want you to have on your backpack as new capabilities, skills, and so on and so forth. So first, I want to increase your self-awareness. So we're going to use a lot of tests, a lot of skills, a lot of self-assessment to do that. And, you know, once you get a better understanding of yourself, we can jump into the second one, which is expand your knowledge about human behavior at work. And as we will see, there is a variety of them, and I want you to better understand how other people behave around you. Thirdly, I want this to be applicable. I want this course to be something that you take for your life. So by the end of this course, I want you to be able to design healthy and effective solutions for your life, both personally and professionally. So we're going to do this on 3 different interrelated topics. So we're going to start with individual processes or understand yourself. Then we're going to jump to interpersonal processes, understanding others, and then finally team or group processes, which is, you know, large-scale organizational type of thing. Okay, so that's the logic behind this course. So how we're going to do the assessment and the grading? So we're going to use 4 different strategies. I'm going to explain to you. This is something I haven't done in the past, but I want to take some time to explain to you why I'm choosing this and how we're going to do this. All right. So we're going to use quizzes, which is 20% of your grading. We're going to have 4 quizzes. We're going to have 2 case studies, which is 30%, so 15 and 15%. 15% is going to be for participation. And then we're going to have a final exam of 35%. So moving on to the quizzes. So why am I using quizzes? So quizzes are a great learning strategy to make the content stick. That's what we call the retrieving practice. So you will have your preparation reading, you will have your lecture, and then we're going to have some quizzes to test your knowledge. And that's why we're going to have 4, because I want them to not be super heavy on content. So some quizzes will be at the beginning of the class. We're going to have live sessions. Some quizzes could be at the end of those live sessions. They will be always on Quercus, and I will let you know in advance when they are due. Okay? Now, for the case studies, I'm using case studies because, one, when we're talking about psychology at work or organizational behavior, it is mostly about solving real business problems. So I want you to be able to apply the knowledge that you're gaining to solve real life, problems. So that's why we're using 2 case studies. And how we're going to do this, you will have your course back, and then you will have your case studies to purchase. And then I will send you targeted questions regarding those cases. Okay, so I'll give you 1 week to work on the case studies. They will be individual. And then by the end of that week, you will upload to Quercus. So the idea here is to create what we call a scaffolding type of assessment. Translating into simpler terms would be the first case study, which is 15%. You will give, your best to do your case studies, and we know you're learning. So your feedback from both myself and the team of TAs will be a formative type of feedback so you can better understand what is expected of you. By the time when you get to the second one later on in the semester, you will do better, because then you will have your feedback and you can work on, you can improve your skills. And guess what? Our final exam will be in the exact same format. So I want to set you up for success. So when it's the end of the semester, we won't have any bad surprises. The participation is why? Because I want you to reflect. I want to see your critical thinking, and I want you also to build connections with your classmates. How we're going to do this? We will always have discussion boards on Quercus, and you can see them on the course roadmap, which I'm going to present in a minute. So we will have discussion boards, and also we're going to control your attendance on our live classes. So this is basically how we're going to grade your participation mark. And finally, the final exam, like I told you, the final exam will also be a case study, worth 35% of your grading, and it's going to be the same format. I will give you a case study. I will give you the questions. The only difference is it's going to be a timed final exam. Okay, so I know it's a lot, and you have to keep track of your deadlines and due dates. So what I'm giving you also in this semester is a course roadmap. And this is a great tool. It's a visual tool. I use a lot with my clients when I'm doing change management for them, to keep track weekly. What do you have to do? What is the look ahead on this course? And then you can also, if you're like me, I'm always like printing out stuff. Like you can see my wall is always like this. You can see on my board. So I am very visual, and I feel like this is very helpful for me. So you can print out, put it on your wall, in your drawer, whatever the case is, or just keep it on a computer. But it's a great way of seeing what's coming up in the next weeks. Okay. Now we will have live sessions most of the weeks. I promise you, I will try to make them as less boring as possible, because I'm thinking that you will be in and out a lot of Zoom, Blackboard Collaborate sessions, and that could be kind of a drag. I know, because I'm feeling this pain right now. So I will try to make them not boring. So a couple of netiquette topics here. So mute your microphones, please, if you're not talking, of course. If you have a connection issue, turn off your video, because that can really weigh in on your on your internet band. Please use your real name, because remember, we're going to use that for participation. So make sure, as on Rosie and Quercus, use the name that you have there. Also, be on time and treat this as a face-to-face lesson, and only post chat messages relevant to that lesson. Okay, that's kind of our ground rules for our live sessions. Now, what could happen is internet is not always reliable, so I may be disconnected from time to time. It doesn't happen often, but it could happen. So if that happens, please wait in the room. I will try to reconnect, as fast as possible. If for some reason I cannot do that, I will send an announcement on Quercus with instructions on how to proceed, okay? And if you are disconnected, follow simple rules, such as I'm trying to reconnect. In case you can't, I'm going to ask you to please send a message on a discussion board explaining what happened. But we'll talk about that later as well. So how we're going to communicate with each other, this is an important element of our discussion here. So I will try to reply all emails, or either myself or my TAs within 48 hours. Do not count weekends, because hey, I have a life too. So, and I guess you too. So 48 hours. I will only reply to emails from your eToro mail account. So no personal emails, no Gmails, Hotmails, or whatever you use it outside of your academic world. Make sure, and please, this is very useful to us, make sure you include in the subject line the course you're in. So in this case, MGT262, and then a clear statement of the purpose of the email. So yes, we're talking about, is it a question that you have? Is it a regrading? Is it a complaint? Is it a suggestion? But make sure this is clear. And where a question cannot be easily or briefly replied through email, I'm going to ask you to make an appointment with either myself or the TA, because lengthy emails are never productive. Okay, so this is how we're going to communicate. Now, for my office hours, so this semester is going to be quite unusual because I'm not going to be in my office. So I have two options for you, and you can pick whatever is best for you. So option number one is the discussion board. You don't need to book an appointment. You just go there on the discussion board, office hours. You will see a link on Quercus. Type in your question. If it's too personal, then don't use the discussion board. Then reach out via email. But I strongly recommend you to use this board, because guess what? Your question should be the question that some other colleague may have. So let's be smart and learn collectively, okay? So if it's a general question, if the question is about the case study, or the question is about a content that we saw in the lecture, please use the discussion board, because it's a very useful tool, and I will personally be very committed to reply all your discussion board questions within 24 to 48 hours. Now, the option number two is I will host drop-in Zoom sessions, office hours. So you will see on Quercus when that's going to be for this semester. But please note that some discussions may be held in groups, okay, depending on the type of question that you have. All right? And hopefully we'll have a very smooth semester. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. And this is it. So some of the very important points on Quercus. So I'm not talking about the bureaucracy of the course. For that, please go ahead and read the syllabus. Okay? So I hope this helps. I will see you soon in our live sessions, in our conversations. And that's it. This is me signing off. Bye-bye.